Hey folks, I come to you today on a somewhat serious note, a very serious note actually. I find this highly disturbing, so I had to make a video to just demonstrate what it is that I'm facing here today and simply trying to share a quote from a book. This is where we're at now. So I'm on Facebook, a social media platform I really don't like. I'm just on here mainly for my business and to connect with family and friends, but I find myself inevitably reaching out to the masses, almost trying to pry people's eyes open to the grave injustices that we've accepted now in our world. And as I said, I was simply trying to bring people's attention to something that's not news. This is not new at all. This is not a new concept. This has been the wool pulled over the people's eyes for centuries, if not thousands of years now. And it's something that needs to stop, and it will not stop if we continue ignoring it, pretending like it's not as big of a problem that it actually is. So you can see here that I posted an image that I generated, which is basically a war-ravaged city here with some kids in the wake of this disaster, which is a state that is perpetual in our world. And I basically wrote here, look away if you must, but it won't change anything. Ignoring these unpleasant truths is only going to perpetuate this already severe problem that we face, or problems that we face, in simply trying to live our lives day to day. Is this really the world that you want your kids or your grandkids to live in? The time for change is now. I'm not a revolutionary or anything. It's kind of like Network here, this quote that I posted from Network. I wouldn't tell people what to do specifically because I wouldn't know what to tell them to do. Everybody's in a different situation. But what I can tell you is we're all facing the same problem, which is government overreach, and that's an understatement. Now, the book that I was trying to quote from is called For a New Liberty, Libertarian Manifesto by Murray Rothbard. Really good book, excellent book, has a fantastic quote in it that I'll share with you now. And I'll just read this so you can get the full sentiment here. I'm going to start on this line right here. So, for centuries, and this is a Porter Robinson song as well, there's a sample from this in his song, The State. For centuries, the state, or more strictly, individuals acting in their roles as members of the government, has cloaked its criminal activity in high-sounding rhetoric. For centuries, the state has committed mass murder, and they still do, and called it war. Then ennobled the mass slaughter that war involves. For centuries, the state has enslaved people into its armed battalions and called it conscription in the national service. For centuries, the state has robbed people at bayonet point and called it taxation. In fact, if you wish to know how libertarians or anyone opposed to the state regard the state and any of its acts, statutes, limitations, simply think of the state as a criminal band, and all of the libertarian attitudes will logically fall into place. It's not just a matter of thinking of them that way. They are, in fact, the world's biggest criminal terrorist organization. It's time to put the euphemisms aside, call it for what it is, and stop tolerating it. If I go back to my post here, I figured out what it was. Simply trying to post a PDF of this guy's book was so counter to their agenda that they won't even let me post a link to it. It won't even let me quote it. So, and that's why I put here, this is the world we live in, folks. You can't even post a quote from a book anymore. That's considered news. And this is what I got for trying to post a link to a book. This post can't be shared in response to Canadian government legislation. Censorship is what it is. News content can't be shared. It's not news. It's not new. As I said before, it's not nothing new. It's not news. It's fact. And it's some guy's book. It's some dude's opinion. And now we're censoring that? I see where this is going. And then I hear this kind of stuff all the time. Well, what am I supposed to do? I'm just one guy. I'm just one woman or one man. This is what you do, folks. You do what you can, when you can, however you can, And you don't stop until you get the truth, justice, and liberty that we should all be freely enjoying, not just that ruling class that's trying to tell you how to live. So enjoy your God-given rights. Understand that you received those when you were born. They are your inalienable rights, and they're not given to you by other people or other groups of people. So this is where we start. I would imagine my post is going to get ignored, as usually the political type posts that I make do get ignored. But eventually, you know, you're not going to be able to ignore it. It's going to affect everybody. It's going to affect you. It's going to affect your kids. It's going to affect your brother, your sister, your mother, your father. Somebody at some point or another that you care about will be affected by this. And then maybe it'll be too late, right? Now we still have a chance. Now we still have a chance to do something about it and to change this world. So it's not an idealistic standpoint. It's a serious fucking problem, and we need to do something about it right now. Anyway, that's all I had to say. Go ahead and unfriend me or unfollow me or stop talking to me if you want, but I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep getting in everybody's face until something's actually done about this. Cower if you must. Retreat if you must. Hide if you must. Ignore it if you must. It's not going to change anything. I need to know that when I leave this world, that I'm leaving a better place than what I was born into. We should all want the same thing.